reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside to the first running point of August. It is August 1st, and it is the Monday episode brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. Joining us from Tennessee is awesome B&B with, once again, a great backdrop, and I think you should steal it and make it your permanent one.
Yeah, it's a nice one too here in Tennessee. Another hot day out.
Hot day. Ty, you want to kind of recap your weekend? I think you had a pretty exciting week.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I posted it on Facebook a little bit too.
Mhm.
Felt like a kid again going out to a wrestling event, experiencing SummerSlam. It was a great event. Nashville was certainly booming. Yeah, that was Saturday night too. We went to the zoo yesterday, Nashville Zoo. It's kind of me and my wife's kind of thing, going city to city. We always kind of check out the zoo, so we've been to our handful of ones, and Nashville's now included. That was a great time too to kind of just get out of the house. And I told you before the show, and we're going to get a little bit of nature walk in today. We're going to go hiking around some of the trails down the
And
park.
I said, hiking, no thank you.
Yeah, and we all can take a guess why hiking might not be the best thing for
No,
you.
I don't have all-terrain wheels, unfortunately.
You need. I was gonna say you need almost like the tank wheels or something, like the military wheels that could just climb everything.
Scotty was telling me that they make those they have wheelchairs that can go into sand because they have
I believe it.
treads. And
That's pretty cool. I mean, technology advancing, man.
I
It's
guess if I lived on the beach, that makes sense. But since we don't, why would I go out and buy track treads for the wheelchair?
now Anthony could call beach volleyball if he wants to. He has the opportunity to call beach volleyball.
Right now, I could. You just have to stick me in one spot and not make me move.
Yeah, that's all we would need, right?
Anthony, you are stuck here for the remainder of the day.
Speaking of volleyball, Ant, you were talking to me too. There seems to be a lot of volleyball coaches we're going to be expecting in the coming weeks.
We knew that once tryouts started, which all tryouts start today and go until Wednesday, and all these coaches were telling me last couple of weeks, hang on, well, we're going to get you as soon as tryouts are over. And right now we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 6 volleyball coaches on the schedule between the end of this week and the early next week. So we'll be hearing from Sarah Lowe that she'll be the first volleyball coach to be on the show Thursday at 12:30 from Beaver Local Volleyball. And then Friday's going to be a busy volleyball day because we have Mike Glockner from McDonald. We have Jennifer Martin from Columbiana and Alicia Auer from Crestview all coming on the show on Friday. And then a week from today, we'll be hitting you up with Alyssa Birch from Boardman and Angela Jones from Springfield. So, volleyball coaches are starting to trickle in, and we're going to have plenty of volleyball previews to go along with our continued coaches' corners from football coaches as well. Today, we have Mike DeVries from Waterloo joining us at 12:30 to preview the Vikings' upcoming season in a new spiffy, I don't know, do you call it a new stadium? I mean, I know they renovated the bleachers and everything, but they've gotten some upgrades in that football program.
They definitely have too, and I mean, Coach DeVries is also the athletic director over there too. So I mean, like tandem, man, he's working as hard as he can to not only improve the team but improve the facilities and Waterloo athletics as a whole too. And personally too, I know Mike DeVries too, just because of my time spent down there doing Waterloo games. I always have conversations with him. Always a great conversationalist too. Not many better guys out there than Mike DeVries right now. So I'm very excited.
I think we talked to him last year. He has a really good assistant AD, and you have to because, of course, during football season, you're going to need someone to take some of those athletic director duties off your plate because otherwise you're just eating way too much, right? So, we're going to ask him about that again. Obviously, it's got to be hard to juggle and being responsible for all the sports in your school and be head coach for football, which one of the more demanding sports to be a head coach.
I'm also pretty excited to kind of talk to him too about this conference that they're playing in. MBAC Scarlet tier. Like, we know Springfield is always going to have a great program. Coach Guerrero, if you haven't seen that, first and foremost, we have a Coach's Corner already posted to YouTube. If you would have subscribed and hit that notification button.
I know. Come on, Hank.
Yeah, Hank. I just think of Breaking Bad.
That's who we're calling out today. Hank, you're not subscribed. You got to get out there.
You just make me think of Breaking Bad anytime I hear Hank. Just dun, 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 dun.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah, but no, we talk about division, the Scarlet division in the MBAC. Springfield is Springfield. We know Coach Guerrero. He does a great job. You could check out his Coach's Corner. They're going to be a good team, but lost a lot of pieces. And this right now might be the most wide open the conference has been in the last 3 years. And it's an opportunity for teams who had their 5-6 wins, kind of middle of the pack teams such as Waterloo, to kind of jump in there. If they can make those key improvements, they might be able to compete for a conference crown this year.
No, you forget that Waterloo was like hovering in that middle of the pack, last
They
year.
were. And I mean, they made a few plays that could have given them that winning season. I believe, too, checking on it, I want to say 5-5, but I'm going to double check on this really quick, just because I wanted to make sure we had the exact record up for them. I want to say it was 5-5 with last year. All right, their schedule last year. If I could pull it up. It is loading so slow. I know they open up this year, though, with United and Anthony. While we're talking about a game real quick, that's going to be exciting. I think United, too. Coach Ogilvie over there, Coach DeVries, we've gotten a chance to talk with both those guys, too.
A matchup of two coaches that are also their school's athletic directors.
Yeah, both guys know how to work it. Waterloo last year, okay, 3-7 last year, 2-4 in the MVAC too. They were hovering around the middle of the pack, but actually in those results, the games that they lost 33-30 to Mineral Ridge in a close one too. They also lost a close game to Lowville, 31-28 last year, which was impressive as well.
That was
also the
I remember that Lowville game.
It was, I don't know, I
think you're chopping.
You're good. You're good. Connection was lagging. You're good.
I think that Lowville game last year was one that we were all sitting in the studio during the audible call, like watching intently, because that was like, no one really expected Waterloo to win that game. Lowville was the darling last year that was supposed to be the one team that could compete with Springfield, and here they were struggling with Waterloo, and we were all like, oh, it was upset alert, and we were all keeping a really close eye on that one. Lowville pulled it out, but Waterloo proved they can really play with just about anybody in this conference with that game right there.
These kids have been working hard too, and yeah, you can't have you have those no contact periods too, where the coach can't technically coach you. But these kids have been putting in off-season work too. They've been doing it at home. They've been working hard, and the communication that I've had with Coach DeVries, the thing with last year is just need a little bit more size. I mean, competing with those teams like Springfield, it was just getting out-muscled, out-powered, especially in those trenches too. Needing a little bit more size, needing a little bit more strength. And with another year of experience, you got to remember, this was a Vikings team that was very young last year in a lot of key areas. And another year of experience, I think, is going to be a huge boost to this Waterloo offense.
What I'm excited about this conversation is it can kind of double, as an AD, he can kind of also give us a little bit of a preview of the other sports too. And, what's exciting about Waterloo in the fall and what the sports program as a whole looks like over there. And that'll be a fun conversation to kind of not just be a football coach's corner, but also kind of have a chance to talk to an AD in an interview section too.
I don't know much about soccer. Hell, I don't even know. I don't even think I could call soccer right now.
All you do know is Kieran English. That's all you have to know.
Yeah. I need to learn something because I do want to try to make at least an attempt to see Kara English play soccer. I've seen what she can do on a basketball court, and she's an animal there. But soccer's her first sport.
Oh yes,
She's an even bigger animal from what I've heard on the soccer field, and I definitely want to see her in action there.
She's going into her junior season, right?
Junior season only. I mean, she has a lot of upside.
She already has 95 career goals. So 2 seasons, 95 career goals.
It's tough, man. It is.
We have 2 premier girl soccer players in our area. Like, I mean, we have a Power 5 soccer player that Gabby Lamparty committed to go to West Virginia University, and I think Kara English, with the stats she's putting up, if she stays healthy, she can probably play anywhere too.
Yeah, I mean, the English family, a great family as well. And Kara's one of the soft-spoken people too, so humble. And I mean, you see that a lot from that Atwater community, no doubt. But Kara,
gotta correct myself. 95. I just got the text from a source. 93.
They got you quick too. I told you, man.
Yeah, right there.
Waterloo the Waterloo community. They live and breathe YSN, man, and we love them over there too. They're like one of the hidden gems. I think one of the many.
Here's a breakdown of that, Ty. 39 goals her freshman year, and then 54 goals for her sophomore season.
Like, that's insanity on a different level. That's
54 goals last season.
I love and it's only probably because I got wrestling on my mind because I was just at SummerSlam. But that was the thing. Roman Reigns is his thing. Greatness on a different level mode. That's Kara English right there, man. That's greatness on a different level mode.
Where did he learn that? Where did he learn that?
Yeah, you wish he learned it at Georgia Tech.
I think he did. I think he learned it from Ken Gailey, who is a great football coach. Hey,
yeah,
2 out of 5 Georgia Tech alums become millionaires. He was
saying it about the other Georgia team wishing he was there.
I don't know, they do wish he was there, but he was too smart for that school.
Yeah. Look at Ant just trashing about it. But
no, 2 out of 5 Tech alums become millionaires, so he fits in that category.
There. I can't disagree with you there, Ann. I can't disagree with you there.
Okay. Back to reality. With Kara English, yeah, that's going to be when we talk Waterloo soccer, and hopefully we can get their coach on, at some time before the season starts. That's just one of the biggest names in soccer right now. It's like her and Gabby Lamparty, and we know where Gabby's going to be going after her senior year's over this year. And Kara's in that season like Gabby was last year, where it's time to make the last impression to try to get into college. So, the thing is, you don't even know if if that's the sport she wants to play in college. I would imagine it is, but with an athlete like her, you never know.
I would not be remiss to say that I think she can definitely play in college for basketball as well. Like I've seen her play on the court. I've seen the way she's able to body people up. I mean, the strength that she possesses, not many girls in the area possess that kind of strength and that kind of fearlessness to just attack a basket.
She can probably go at a higher level for soccer than she could.
Absolutely. I think she could go at a higher level, but I mean, you never know. You never know what she chooses. I think whatever she chooses, she's going to continue to be great and impressive in, though, because she is one phenomenal athlete.
So yeah, that'll be fun to kind of talk about, and we'll continue talking this whole week about all the fall sports. Well, we started on Friday. We went over some schedules for volleyball. We'll do that again. We'll hit you up with some volleyball schedules that are being released, and we went through what the AAC and the 2 Buckeye 8 teams that we have went through their schedules, and there are still a lot of really good programs that we want to look at and see what their matchups are, when their key matchups are, what are some matchups that we're circling.
We need a lot of these coaches that appeared on our show last year that we haven't gotten a chance to talk to. I mentioned too on Friday, we got to get Heartland Christian. We got to get Maggie Martin back on too. That's been a long gap since we last talked to Maggie Martin too. And
Heartland Christian loves their volleyball.
Maggie Martin is a personality and a half too on the sidelines for her team.
I love watching her coach because she's like jumping at every point. She is in it. Like there's coaches that are stoic, which works. There's not one way to coach. She is just like an emotional fireball on the sidelines.
And
yeah, it's the same sidelines for volleyball.
I love it. I love the excitement that she influences the girls to bring as well too. I mean, she's a coach, but she's also the hype girl as well, right? She gets them fired up and she gets them going, gives them a jolt when needed. It's going to be exciting to dive into some of these volleyball schools too, and
Well,
hey, get our first volleyball interview just a couple days away.
yeah, Thursday, Sarah Lowe will kick things off, or I should say, serve things up.
Yeah, serve
To
things up.
stay with,
I mean,
stay with
great.
that volleyball track. And then, Friday we have 3 successful volleyball coaches with Clockner from McDonald and Martin from Columbiana, and then definitely Coach Lauer from Crestview.
Yeah, and those are all 3 going to be great programs to talk to, and 3 different conferences as well. Get a little bit of the MBAC Scarlet, you get a little bit of the EOAC, you get a little bit of the MBAC Gray, and then you also get the Buckeye 8 too with Sarah Lowe on Thursday. So we're giving you like a little appetizer from each conference here.
And then Monday you get a little taste of the EAC with Coach Birch.
Yeah, and Coach Birch will be a fun interview as well. And we look forward to start talking to all these volleyball names and get into the sport a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun week because I think this week we're just gonna deep dive into all the full sports and try to kind of get a scope of what teams are going to be the ones to watch and what these matchups are going to be, and we'll preview some things and then we'll also as always get coaches on.
Like you said too, I mean it's beginning of August too, so now it's kind of like go time. July's past us now. We're in the month that football, all fall sports starts. Literally less than 3 weeks away for a lot of them. We're right here now, and now most of these teams are figuring themselves out. They kind of gotten their rosters shaped up. A lot of these coaches are going to be a lot more willing to come on and talk to us about what they have now that they know what they have.
Yeah, like I said, the volleyball coaches wanted to wait. Some soccer coaches said, let's wait until the middle of August. So we might get some soccer coaches trickling in towards August 13th, August 14th, August 15th. That's when a couple of them said to wait for. So, the next 2 weeks might be, loading up on some volleyball and football, and then you might see soccer start to trickle in, and then we'll definitely, look for golf and cross country as well.
Yeah, we definitely will, and we're excited to be able to get into these fall sports. And we also have our golf guru Brian Tolnar that also helps us out with the golf expertise around the area.
One of the soccer coaches we are absolutely going to talk to, she's already reached out and she's interested, is Cheryl Fico from West Branch Girls Soccer, and they're going for their 9th consecutive EBC championship.
It's impressive, man.
Talk about dynasty.
It was a West Branch team that beat that Salem girls team that was on a run like no other last year too. So West Branch had to beat Salem in a huge game. I think last regular season game of the season to even clinch conference crown. It was all the marbles that were on the line, and West Branch clinched it. And like you said, and
I think at that point they'd already clinched at least a share. That one was for outright.
Yeah,
for West Branch.
I knew it was a game at that. It was towards the end of the season, and like all the
it was the second game of the year again. Second matchup between Salem and West Branch. And that's, it was for it all, and West Branch took care of it. So,
and West Branch looking to continue that. We'll be looking forward to getting into West Branch soccer a bit as well.
There's someone that we might, you might know with Sophie Gregory on that team.
Yeah, Sophie Gregory,
small name.
She's something else too, and I mean, almost the reverse of Kara English. I don't even think soccer is her first sport, but she's very talented at that. I'm pretty sure basketball is her first sport, if I'm not mistaken. So but she's still one of those talented soccer players too that could probably go college-wise to either or, but probably has a little bit more of a ceiling in the basketball realm.
We all saw her ups in the gym in summer. That video that leaked of her touching the rim.
That was insane. She's only a junior going into this year. Like, it's unbelievable the talent level we're seeing from these underclassmen and the work that they've put in the offseason. Look out. I mean, we lost a lot of seniors last year, but there is some new upperclassmen that are willing to make a name for themselves this year.
EB brought it up when he was on the show on Thursday. But it's a reality, like more, and they're starting to become more and more girls in the basketball realm, especially elite, that can dunk. And I remember when I was in high school and Candace Parker did it in the McDonald All-American game. It silenced the stadium because it was such a, that never happens. Now it's like you go to Runs the Roses and it's like there are 5 girls there that can dunk.
Gotta give the ladies a little bit of time to catch up game wise to what we've seen in the men's sport, just because the men's sports existed for 60 years longer too. But I think the ladies do that. We've seen so much athletic ability in this northeastern part of Ohio, and so much hard work, sweat, tears that go into this off season every single year for these athletes too. They're trying to accomplish great feats as well, and girls like Sophie Gregory are a perfect example of that. Look at all the offseason work she's put in, and wait until you see her step out on the field or on that hardwood.
Look, and she can't dunk yet, but the point is, like, the athleticism in the girls basketball realm has just skyrocketed.
It's uptick. There's no doubt.
It was like Lisa Leslie dunked, and she was the first woman to dunk, and then it didn't happen again until Candace Parker did it in the McDonald's All-American game, and she did it a couple of times in college. But now, you go to, like I said, you go to that Runs for Roses, and it's like the top 5 recruits in America can all dunk for women's basketball. So starting to see it more.
Sports are improving in all facets too, but I mean, you really love to see it taking these big steps too, especially in the younger ages.
While we're talking about soccer, how about the women's Euro League soccer this weekend, the Euro Championships? They had all 3 of the last games had over 85,000 people in attendance, and the peaks were 91,000. So, your European women's soccer must be uptaking huge in popularity. 91,000.
Soccer is huge too. It is huge worldwide too, and it's nice to see the support given.
The horseshoe holds what,
Oh, that's a good question.
95?
It is close. Horseshoe.
The big house is the biggest capacity in college football, right?
I think Horseshoe's capacities, I think it's over 100,000, honestly.
Yeah, I think it cranked. I think once they finished the bleachers, it actually boosted over 100.
I think it's right under 105, honestly.
Your average NFL stadiums are 75. So put that in comparison, 91,000 in a stadium is more than most of your NFL stadiums.
That it really is too. I mean, I think Brown Stadium's only 69,000 or 67,000 compared to Ohio State's that's sitting, I think, right under 105. So I mean, the college game is incredible to see how many people flood in for that. But yeah, I mean,
you're right. You're a machine, just under 105. Well, it's 104,944. So it's what is that? 16 below.
Yeah,
it's 16. What am I thinking? 66.
Yeah, below 66 below. But 100, almost 105,000. That's a lot of people packed into one place.
But, put 66 more chairs in there.
Just make it 105,000 even.
Come on, you know, there's room to fit 66 more chairs in that stadium.
Yeah, there probably is. I'm sure there is.
Make it an even number. It bugs me when this is way off track, but when Jeopardy contestants make it $1 and it's not even. We're $14.99. I'm like, what do you do? It's one of those things that drives me nuts for some reason.
Anthony's like, every price in the world should end in a 0 or a 5.
I want you to have an even number. Just have your winnings be 25,000 already. 25,001.
Anthony's like, abolish the penny, abolish the single dollar. No dollars, no pennies. I want every price.
Singles. Everything's got to be,
0s and 5s only. That's what prices and nothing else.
One of the things, if Anthony ruled the world, that'd be one of the sad, scary realities.
Just everything ends in a 0 or 5. I'd be all right with it if we would just include tax into every price. Quit trying to make me do math and figure out taxes on things. Just include tax in the price. Just show me what the price is with tax. That's all I
would also abolish straight to DVD sequels.
The novelty stuff that Anthony would do if he was president. He's just straight to DVD sequels. Gotta go. We gotta stop the production of those. you would put you'd put like Nickelodeon Studios the business, and if you took away their straight to DVDs.
No more Aladdin 3s.
Oh my God! Oh yeah, that's like Disney Studios. All those.
Disney loves the straight to DVD sequels.
They love making a good original movie and then
now
sequels.
they make highly produced sequels, but they used to make like, here's Aladdin 5 roaming the desert
with completely different voices as the voice actors too. So here we go.
Let's stop that. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we'll have Coach DeVries from Waterloo football with us on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens. On air, online, Wednesday afternoon weather update,
very dangerous,
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees, made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
But now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, we are going to be joined by a guy that has a pretty busy fall slate, if I do say so myself. Mike DeVries, the head coach of Waterloo Vikings football program. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Hey, always a pleasure, guys. It's great to see you.
I know it's been too long.
It has. I appreciate everything you guys do.
How are you doing, Coach? A little jet lag still after your trip back? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not quite a California guy. We did find that out. I came home and cut wood for 3 days. I was much more at home there.
Well, Coach, we do know you're an Outwater guy, though, for sure. And we know there's some great athletes that are over there at Waterloo. Why don't we just start with what some of the guys you're expecting to have a big influence on the team this year and who you think are going to be big production leaders for your guys?
We're pretty excited. We got everybody up front back, which is always big. Anytime you're talking football, this is year 32 for me. And I coach the offensive line, so I'm pretty excited about that. I'm a run-first guy, and I think that's where the foundation starts is up front. So we're pretty excited about that. We've got a little bit of we don't call them quarterbacks, we call them tailbacks, between Jaden Haken, a junior, and Chance Moore, a senior. Evan Kugler is a nice addition, a kid that's lived in the district, but he was going to St. Thomas, and he's come back to be with his classmates for his senior year. He'll be in the backfield, and Justin Fox and Edgar Polino, blocking back, are both seniors. We're pretty excited.
When we were looking at your schedule from last year before you came on, me and Ty realized real quick that there were a handful of games. You guys were a couple of plays away from getting that win and trying to put like a winning record on the season. When you look at last year and you kind of analyze it as a coach, what were some of the differences and what kind of things did you want to kind of take into this offseason and improve on from last year?
Well, unfortunately, we've been battling a long tradition of, losing. They've only had a handful of winning seasons, and since Waterloo's been founded in 1968, it's been a process. The kids are starting to buy into it a little bit. They believe in our numbers are up a little bit this year, and the weight room attendance has been better in the summer. So, we got to develop some toughness. We weren't able to finish some games, like you said, that I thought could have catapulted us over the top. So this summer, we've been really trying to build toughness and work on that aspect of the game.
You look at this team, though. I mean, like you said, you're getting a lot of guys returning on this team this season. And what's saying that there's a lot of teams inside your conference that has lost a little bit. Springfield being notably. Obviously, we know Springfield's still a good program, but they've lost Bo Bruncart. Do you see this as the most open the conference has been in the recent years? And do you think, in your opinion, what would it take for Waterloo to grab a piece of that conference crown this year?
Well, again, we got to finish. Sean Guerrero, he's always going to have a great team. And Danny Williams, I have the utmost respect for him. He fields great teams every year. His kids play with class. They're physical. Those are going to be the top dogs, and with Western Reserve, they're always going to be in the hunt. The top half of our tier is just solid, and it's the rest of us trying to scratch and claw and find a way. But I think you're right. I mean, I think, I don't think 7 schools were too upset about Bo Brungard graduating. Although after we played him in basketball, I did go up and shake his hand because, it's been a joy to watch that kid play for 4 years. I think he plays football the right way.
I think they all went to his graduation party.
they were all.
We took up a collection.
All right. So when you look at this off season and now you're in the August, practices officially begin. You had a couple weeks before the season starts. What kind of things are you focused on in this month of August to really key in on to get your boys ready for week 1?
My offensive coordinator, Nate Peters, and my defensive coordinator, Jeff Sharkey, they've done a great job of simplifying and still making our things complex so that it's easy for our kids to understand. We got a little wrinkle with the single wing this year. We're going to be able to spread out and do some different things. which we're excited about. And, it doesn't change a whole lot of our dynamics. Like I said, me, I'm a run first guy. And, last year we had a lot of 9-minute drives, which, a guy like me that just, you sleep well at night, even if you don't score. If you're holding the ball for 9 minutes, the other team doesn't have a chance to score. So we've done that. And then we're going to switch to a 3-4 on defense. And it allows us to do some different things and be a little bit more flexible with some of the spread teams and, maybe load the box up a little bit against some of the run heavy teams.
This is going to be an interesting schedule, like you said, too. Non-conference wise, you guys open up with United. And before we get into any other questions, I guess the next one is, too, what are we expecting from United, too? I mean, Coach Ogilvy's kind of in the same boat as you, athletic director and football coach, the man of many hats.
Oh, Coach Ogilvy's a stud, man. He's got some nice kids down there. We've been able to get a little bit of scouting on them. They're legit. I mean, he does a great job. His kids are always going to play physical. They play pretty fast, which you love to see. He teaches things the right way down there. That's going to be a tough opener for us, for sure.
When you look at, being the athletic director, being the football coach, obviously there's going to be a lot on your plate this fall, but you have a great support system there at Waterloo that helps take a couple of things off your plate during the fall when you're coaching football. Talk about the athletic director staff and, what it means to you that you have people behind you and you can do both and you're able to do both.
Yeah, we took a big hit this year because Robin Ferguson got a job at Field. But Coach Kevin Longenecker, our girls basketball coach, stepped into that role. That guy's been a godsend. He's taken a lot of stuff off my plate this summer, especially the stuff with the computer. You're lucky you got me on here today. I'm a technological moron. So he's taken over a lot of those roles, and he's really kept me on track, which Robin did such a good job of in the past.
You look at the athletic director job, too. I've been seeing all the posts on socials, too. You guys get new bleachers, a lot of renovations happening to the football field. Exciting times in Waterloo, too. How excited are you from the athletic director's standpoint just to see these improvements happening for the kids and just the improvements all around for sports?
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. A big shout out to the Twitchell and the Robinson family and Lee Horning. They've been up there about every night trying to get that everything, tidied up and ready to go for August 19th. The electric's in the press box. We're getting ready to install the speakers for the sound system, and things are on track. So keep your fingers crossed.
That being said, I mean, give a shout out to the Waterloo community. What should they expect when they come into a Waterloo football game this year?
I'm telling you, it's awesome. The concession stand is immaculate. The Waterloo fans are going to be a little bit shocked because we actually have heat and, in the restrooms. So those cold October nights, might not be anybody in the stands. They may all be gathering in the bathrooms. They're not going to be used to that. It's a pretty first-class facility right now.
You can do the audio YSN in the bathroom. Just go in there.
We'll set you up in there.
No, looking at this though, too, Coach. I mean, we obviously know you do your duties with the football coach, but also being the athletic director. What are some things you're excited about for the fall sports as a whole? Some other big fall sports. I know Anthony and I were talking Kara English with that girls soccer team. It's always a show to watch too. But from your perspective, what are the excitements surrounding fall sports in Waterloo?
The English girls are stud. And, the girls soccer program, they've got a lot of returners. We do have a new coach there, and we have a new coach with boys soccer. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Our volleyball numbers, Coach Franks, who I think the world of when she played here, was a phenomenal athlete. Her numbers have almost tripled. So we're excited to see where the volleyball team's going to go. I think there's some good things happening here. I think we got it turned around, and it could be an exciting fall. Hopefully we get some people out here to see these kids play.
Yeah, and you always get a lot of good crowds. The community of Waterloo supports all these athletes tremendously. When we go to Waterloo, we know these fans are going to get rowdy and they're going to get loud for their team.
Well, we appreciate everything you guys do to boost us up. You do a phenomenal job of covering us.
What makes the Waterloo community special and unique to any other community in the areas?
They care. And it's more about the kids first and foremost. That's one of our sayings around here. It's for the kids. You know, Lee Horning can oftentimes get me to do a lot of things I don't want to do using that phrase. He's you know, but that's what it's about. And, you know, in the big scheme of things, a lot of people lose that aspect, but here it's, you know, it's really centralized on the kids. And, you know, that's what we got into this gig for. And sometimes we forget that when you're striving for wins and losses and league titles, but it's about the kids and making a positive experience for them.
Countless numbers of kids that come to you asking for advice too. But in saying that, I kind of want to flip that question on its head and ask you, what's some of the best advice you've received throughout your career, whether that be from a previous coach, parent, kid? What's some of the best advice that you've received that you kind of hold near and dear to you?
Well, and it's funny, when my kid was playing, and when he was a freshman, and he was quarterback on the JV team, and, you know, he was playing at Marlington, and we were getting beat pretty bad by a team who was older, and they were blitzing and throwing trick plays. And, you know, the competitor in me, I wasn't coaching at the time. I was just on the sidelines watching. During a timeout, I went out and it got a little heated. And the head coach then was Ed Miley. And, you know, I was the offensive coordinator for him. And he called me over and he goes, "Coach, it's different when it's your own kid." And it's right. And I tell parents that all the time, you know, and I'm glad that they get fired up and they're trying to defend their kid. But in the big scheme of things, we're going to do what's best for all kids. And, you know, I've held that near and dear to my heart for a lot of years. You got to do what's best for all kids. And, you know, and that's somebody's kid that's out there, and they're going to fight for them. So when parents get passionate, you know, I try to be understanding, because I was that guy. I mean, I get it. So, you know, you just got to remember those things. That's somebody's kid, and they're going to fight tooth and nail for him. And I wouldn't expect anything less.
And Chris Ziegler has a question in the comments. We're going to get to it when we segue into your time to talk about your staff. But before we do, I want to ask, we talked about the new stadium and some of the renovations you have with that, but I'm seeing some really cool new helmet designs for Waterloo coming into the 22-22 season, and they look sharp. I mean,
we'll see. I put the prototype on there. It took forever. So we'll see how they look with game one.
It didn't come out. We didn't know where it is.
They might be all wrinkled up and look like an old turkey.
If they come out the way that you want, I mean, what will it mean to this program to have kind of a new look and let the kids kind of have that feel good, play good, look good mentality?
You know, we got a good senior group. We got 11 seniors, and they're great leaders. And I kind of ran it by them a little bit, and, you know, got their input, and they seem to like it. I know some of the old timers are probably, you know, be a little bit fussy about it, but, you know, and again, you go back to that comment. It's about the kids, right? It's not about what I like, because I'm an old traditionalist. You know, Ohio State never should have gone back from the silver helmets and the stripes and the Buckeyes on it, but it's not about what I want, right? It's about what the kids want and what they're going to feel comfortable playing with.
All right, this is the question from Chris Ziegler from the comments section, and it's, if you could pick anyone, past or present, to be on your staff, who would it be? And he says it can be anyone. So
Woody Hayes.
Woody Hayes. There it is.
No, I don't even have to think about that one. 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right?
Yeah, it fits right into your identity, that's for sure.
And that guy's fire and a passion for the game and his loyalty to the Ohio fan base. I have a hard time going up north. You know, when I was coaching at Marlington, we had a kid go play up there. I had to wait till he came down to Ohio State to watch him play. We had a lineman go to Michigan State, and I went up and watched him play, and it about killed me. I had a hard time spending any money up there.
I love it. Die hard through and through. Well, Coach, I know you're a busy man, and we don't want to take up too much of your time. So I do want to leave you, continue with that staff question, to just give you an opportunity to shout out some other big names in your staff and big names in that Waterloo football program that really make this thing go.
You know, Nathan Peters and Jeff Sharkey, my offensive defense coordinator, have been godsends. I added John Foster onto my staff this year, who is our wrestling coach. He brings that edge and that little bit of toughness. And then helping with the offensive line and doing the defensive line is John Jarrett, who played for us, you know, a few years back. So he brings a lot of youth, and he's a weight room guy, which I love. We got a pretty good mix of young and old, and some fire and some calm. So I think I'm pretty happy with the way this year's staff turned out.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a little bit of a preview of Waterloo football, what to look forward to, and also a preview into what your job kind of looks like as not just football coach, but the athletic director as well. We look forward to covering you all season. We know we'll talk to you again real soon as the year goes on.
Hey, if you run into my wife at the Austin Giant Eagle, tell her I said hi, because I probably won't see her till April.
I'll make sure I stop by and let her know, Coach. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you.
Mike DeVries, the head coach of the Waterloo Vikings, and that's a great way to leave the interview. If you see his wife at the Austin Giant Eagle, make sure to tell her that he's thinking about her.
He's a busy man. He's a very busy man. I love Mike DeVries. Like I said, you can't really find too many better guys than Coach DeVries, and he's been around the game a very long time. He's been around athletes a very long time, and also I love that personal experience with the parents, right? Because like, especially in like recent weeks, and we've been hearing a lot of parents get a lot of flack, and parents get a lot of flack for the umpires. Parents get a lot of flack too when things don't go their way. But I think it's really cool that he kind of put it in perspective to us. And that's a great quote too. It is different when it's your own kid. Mm-hmm. And for even the people that aren't parents, it's hard to put yourself into those kind of shoes too. So I feel like that's a great kind of middle ground that Coach DeVries takes right there to give us like understanding on both sides.
I think even if it's not like your blood kid, I think when you pour energy and effort into supporting someone, and that just puts a little bit of those goggles on. I call them parent goggles. Usually it's mom goggles, but either mom or dad can wear them. But even when it's just someone that like you have supported and you've poured energy into, those goggles start to become blinders. Almost.
You could get tunnel vision on certain things for sure. But with great guys like Coach DeVries and just all the coaching staffs that are there, they're going to put the right guys in the right positions to really, like he said, make all these kids to succeed. And I mean, he's doing it for the right reasons too. I mean, it's all for the kids at the end of the day too. I mean, like he said, records, league titles, all that. It's fun to talk about. We love talking about it. I mean, we talk that crap out of it as the media too. We love talking about it. But at the end of the day, same thing for YSN. That's where we click here so well. It's all for the kids at the end of the day. And that's beautiful.
Let's look at Waterloo's schedule as a whole, because we asked them about United. They opened the season on Thursday the 18th, actually, against United at home. So that'll be one of those Thursday games. And then they go, Strasburg, Franklin week 2, Malvern week 3 for their non-conference schedules. And then they start off the conference season with Sebring, Western Reserve, Lowville, and then Springfield, Jackson, Milton, McDonald, Middle Ridge. Their home games are going to be in conference. Their home games are going to be Western Reserve. They're going to be home against Springfield, home against Jackson, Milton, and home against Middle Ridge. That means they'll be away against McDonald, away against Lowville, and away against Sebring.
They also only have one non-conference away game at Malvern, so 6 home games on the docket right now.
Nice this year, but they'll reverse that next year, and they'll probably have 4 home games, just like we saw with Liberty, who they were, the Coach Simon over there was kind of mad because he was stuck with it. He couldn't control the schedule. It was set up before he even got there as a head coach. But yeah, when you have 6 one year, usually they flip on you next year.
Yeah, and that's typically what you traditionally see with that. So we'll have to stay tuned. But I mean, hey, it's nice for Waterloo this year.
I know. Take advantage of it.
It's great for that Atwater community, especially with all the renovations they've done at that football field. It's even more reason for them to get out there and support it. With all those seatings, that Atwater community. I've seen them fill up a gym. I'm sure they can fill up some bleachers as well.
And here's what, like, if you're going to unbalance the you're going to make them have 4 home games, like, go into the non-conference schedule and say, okay, 2 of those away games are going to be non-conference. That way in the conference schedule, they're still pretty evenly split home and away. I think that's one thing that probably Liberty was the most kind of irked about, was the fact that, like, they only had 3 home conference games, and 2 of their home games were, one of their home games was non-conference. It's like, this give us our whole, I know it's kind of, you don't want to see your whole non-conference on the road, but I don't know. Me personally, I'd rather have non-conference on the road if that meant I got my 4 home games that were still conference. So those conference opponents still had to come to my field to play. I would make that trade. I don't know if you would, but I would.
I think you would probably want to have, because at the end of the day, you want to win your conference, right? That's one thing you're looking at too. But it's tough though with football because like conferences, I feel like don't have as much weight as like some of the other sports, if that makes sense, just because of the playoff.
Do they though? Because like, well, okay, I guess it depends where you stand. If you're a team like Waterloo, your conference holds a lot of weight because you're playing Springfield's, you're playing you're playing. But if you're a team like let's say you're the highest division team in the NE8, well, all your like Niles is D3, right?
Yeah. Well, they were D3. I think they moved down to D4. No more D3.
Are there any more D3s left in?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Niles was the only one they moved out.
That last year would have been a great example of that.
Example. Last year, Niles was D3. All their opponents were under them, so it's like the conference schedule matters, but like it's not really helping us for the playoffs.
You're not getting a ton of computer points for those wins because at the end of the day, that's exactly the part about it is you can go 10-0 if you're Niles and you're D3, but if South Range goes 10-0 and they're D5, same conference, South Range has more computer points.
Especially in this new setup where 16 teams get in. Basically, if you take care of your conference schedule, you're going to get into the playoffs. There's no way that you don't. So
that was the thing that I had, I guess, a big gripe before is that you could win a conference and not even make the playoffs too, and that just seemed like something that shouldn't exist at all. Like if you win a conference, that should be good enough to get you a ticket into the postseason.
You win all your conference games, but like you lost your 3 non-conference games and you're sitting at a 7-3 record. That's not good enough to make the playoffs back when it was 8 teams. So maybe it could have been, but it could have not have been. I think Springfield one year had a 9-1 record, didn't make the playoffs.
And that was the thing before that I didn't like. I love the idea because you want these teams to compete.
That was an example. Remember, that was back when Springfield was playing down divisions for their conference. So it hurt them. Their conference play hurt them.
And now coming up, it's like you want to see them competing for conferences. You want the conference crown to mean something in a football season because it just brings back those feelings of high school tradition and the feeling of those rivals and everything. And your South Range Poland games mean a little bit more when they go up against each other. When you know the conference crown basically means you're going into the playoffs then, right? Like it means something more. And I love that they're putting a little bit more weight on the conferences now by opening up the playoffs. I know we complain about the OHSA and we know it was a money grab. We know the reason behind it. But if we're going to look at the positive side of it, we can see more teams make it into the playoffs. And hell, we saw a 16 beat a number 1 last year. So, I mean, that's all proof we need.
1 in the whole state of Ohio.
Yeah.
1. So you're saying there's a chance.
And that's all teams need, right? They just need to know that there's a chance. If they have a seat at the table, they have a chance.
The catch-22 of that, Ty, is yes, your conference winner is almost guaranteed a spot in the playoffs now. But there's also going to be like there are going to be conferences where like your 5th place team gets in the playoffs. It's like, well, if you finish 5th in the conference, are we really talking playoffs just because you played a couple of bigger schools in your conference?
We're probably looking at the NE8 when we're talking about that.
The NE8's going to have some teams that maybe struggled in conference play, maybe that 2-4 conference record, but those 2
wins. To what? A regional final last year, and I think they finished 5th or 4th in the conference.
They were like an 11 seed.
Yeah. And they finished 5th or 4th, but like that's the example of it, though. I feel like I've sat on the fence and I've kind of tossed with this idea of like, do I like it? Do I not like it? I don't know because I mean, more football is always a great thing, right? You want to, but at the same time too, you want to just make sure you're keeping these kids healthy as well.
I liked 8. 8 was okay. I think it's a lot better than like 4. Like, hey, the top 4 teams.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that was kind of silly. And then back even before 4, it was just like, hey, if you won the AP poll, kind of like college, hey, you go into a state championship game, and that it was one state championship game. Like it was so hard to get into the state championship, it was ridiculous. Back in like the 70s, but now 16, I feel like 12 is my sweet spot.
And they might experiment with that. They might not because I mean, obviously, 16 means more money that they get to make too with those
money.
More money.
Money. and I need it now.
But with the 16 teams that do make it in, it's you got to figure too. I mean, from our standpoint, it does balance out competitiveness a little bit because it does give more realistic opportunity for your number one, your number two seeds to slip up. And all it takes is any given Friday night, as we know, and any given Friday can really change the whole course of a season.
We have another nugget from our cool source that likes to give us a lot of nuggets. 2012, so that's like a year after I graduated 10 years ago. West Branch went 6-4, won the EBC, or I don't know if it was the EBC back then, but they won their conference, didn't make the playoffs. They went 0-3, and their non-conference opponents were Kirtland, New Philadelphia, and Streetsboro. Lost to Streetsboro, New Philly by a combined 6 points.
Oh my God, that's a brutal non-conference.
It's a good team. Like if they got into the playoffs, they'd probably make a run. But because of the setup, 8 teams get in, 6-4 record. Nope, didn't do it. Didn't happen.
Yeah, and that 12 might be able to work, but the only thing I feel like if you do 12, how's that tree looking then, right?
How's the bracket?
Yeah, 6 teams are advancing. How are you? And then 3 teams are advancing at those.
You have to. The thing. Let me list that. I have to visually see it, but I think if you had 2 teams get a bye, and then you'd have 8.
I guess that would be the way to do it, right? 2 teams would have to get a bye.
It'd be 4 teams get a bye, right? Because then if 4 teams get a bye, then you'd have 8 teams in the first round. 4 advanced to the play the. So you'd have the top 4 seeds get a bye, and then you'd have seeds 5 through 12 play. 5 would play 12, 6 would play 11, 7 would play 10, 8 would play 9. Winners would advance to the teams that got a bye.
So you're in favor of having the top seeds get a bye, and I mean, I can see that too because if you
it already happens in basketball and softball, like the top seeds can choose to get a bye. It's not automatic.
Yeah.
I guess you could make it like that where the playoffs aren't voted on, but once the seeds come out, you can ask the top 4 seeds, you want to buy or do you not want to buy? And if they don't want to buy, then you give it to the next team that does want to buy.
The sport of football, that's a different animal. It's different saying, okay, we'll play an extra basketball or softball game. When you say, okay, we'll take the football game instead of a bye, injury risk go up. I mean, that's a big decision to make. Then that whole rust versus rest debate comes in full force. Then at that point, I think where you're just looking at it like, do we want to put our kids through another football game?
Right now, it's like 1 versus 16, except for that one game. It's pretty much a bye anyway. I mean, you're risking injury to go out there and beat most teams 35-45 nothing.
That's a tough question too, and I feel like that would be when a lot of teams would have to mull over and think about. I don't know. I would like to think more teams would choose rest, but you never know.
Put strategy into there. It makes another coaching strategy decision. Do I want to buy or do I want to, not take the buy?
Or do you take the game and not play all your starters? I mean, there's all kinds of.
Yeah, like nothing says that you. I mean, you could probably play if you don't take the buy, you'd be playing a much lower seed, and you could probably play your starters for maybe a quarter or maybe a half, and just be like, we're done. We took care of it. Let's get some young guys some playoff experience, and get out of here.
And I mean, there's multiple strategies you can elect to go through if you're a coach in that situation.
Look, if you get a bye, you can still have your one scrimmage that's left over and scrimmage somebody.
That is true. If you really wanted to.
Then it would take away a scrimmage from you could split your you wouldn't have to try to squeeze 2 scrimmages before the season starts. You could take one of those scrimmages and save it for the end of the season. If you see, that'd be another strategy thing. Do you expect that you're going to be a top 4 seed in the playoffs? Because then if you do that and then don't get a top 4 seed, you kind of wasted your scrimmage, right?
Now you just have a scrimmage that just has to rot.
But yeah, it'd be interesting. Like Kirtland would just say, we're going to be a top 4 seed. Like, let's be real.
Especially in D6 now. Man, oh man. That's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, if you missed it too, 12:30, we had Coach Mike DeVries on from Waterloo Football. We're going to continue our coverage of football coaches. But if you did miss it, like I said, you can catch it on our YouTube channel and on our site, ysnlive.com, after this show and in the coming days too. We always post them and repost our interviews there. So
I think the next one that we have confirmed, Ty, is Steve Boyle from Howland. You're going to be coming on Wednesday.
Yeah, we had a little bit of trouble last week. Steve Boyle got caught up with practice. We're going to try and get the Howland Tigers represented yet again on Wednesday coming up. We're going to do it, I think, before the show, have a little pre-recorded interview fresh off the oven right for you right at Wednesday.
This is interesting. What were the attendance numbers for that first round playoff game, especially like if like Chris said, if there were travel and the potential for blowouts.
Not to mention prices hike up too during the playoffs too. OHSAA raised the prices to football tickets, so it's like, what was it, like $12? I think 12 or 10, something like 12 and 10, I think for parents and students. But like, are you really going to pay that money for like taking the whole family too? If it's a family of 4, you're paying $60-$70 to take
the balancing that might, but a lot of those teams that got in the playoffs, there were probably a lot of teams that hadn't been to the playoffs in a long time.
That is
the excitement for like, hey, we're in the playoffs, kind of spike that and bring a community to travel that far.
And I mean, you talk about it. I mean, teams taking care of business, 1 versus 16 wins a bunch of times. But imagine being in the crowd when you're that 16 seed.
Yeah, imagine the people in that crowd for that 16 seed that beat the 1 seed. It happened once.
Yeah.
So imagine not being in that crowd and being like, we missed that, and we don't have YSN.
And that's why you need YSN. There you go. Anthony just got you right there.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean that's a perfect example. I mean, you don't have to worry about missing a game. You could quite literally be anywhere if you have YSN on your side as well too. Completely free service. Contact your athletic directors and talk to them about how they can get YSN set up for your school. We still have plenty of spots we can accept, and we still have plenty of teams we want to welcome under our banner. And right before football season, literally just under 3 weeks, it's the perfect time to do it, folks. Get out there and contact your athletic directors if YSN isn't a part of your school.
It doesn't look like it from this camera angle because this camera those schools take up the whole screen. But there are plenty of bricks. There are plenty of free bricks on this red wall that we'd love to fill.
I think we got 50 plus that are filled on that wall, but we can go for 50 more easily.
To be honest, there are some new stickers that we haven't put on there yet. So we're still missing a couple of stickers on the wall. But there's still, even with that, there's a lot of free space. Yeah, we haven't gotten Howland up there. We got to get Howland up there on the wall.
You got to get the Tigers too, and I'm excited to talk with Coach Boyle too on Wednesday and talk about this Tiger squad coming up. I mean, there's a lot of changes obviously coming in all these football teams. I'm always excited to see how they're going to adjust. And when we talked with Coach DeVries too, I mean, we talked about it. I said it before too. They're returning a lot of guys in that offensive line, and that's dangerous too for a lot of teams, especially run-heavy teams. You get all your offensive line back, a whole year of them learning that playbook, and you're not changing anything. Same coach, same guys, they're right there. It's going to be a team that has a lot more experience, and we know what experience does.
They're playing that triple option offense, and for that particular scheme, sometimes it's better to have offensive linemen that aren't big in the sense that you want kind of tall and lean, right? Because you want guys that can get. Of course, in high school, you can't cut block, so never mind. I forgot that's a rule. Like if for colleges, if you're running the triple option, you want linemen that can move more because they have to kind of, instead of move the line back, they have to try to get defensive line off their feet. So you want linemen that can move a little bit more and be a little bit more athletic. And that's one of the reasons why when Georgia Tech went from the option back to the pro style offense, it was like, we have all these linemen that can't pass protect because they're not big at all, and they can't even run scheme like a normal run scheme because they were built for a triple option offense, and it was like it doesn't work for anything else. That mindset of offensive linemen. But in high school, when you're running a triple option, you're still not allowed to cut block, even if it's chop block's illegal at every level, but cut blocking is legal in college, and I believe it's still not. You're not allowed to do that in high school at all, even if they're not being engaged up top.
As Waterloo Stadium looks to be packed on opening day against
also not allowed to hurdle someone in high school football unless they're down, unless they're literally it's a judgment call. If they're going down the tackle, you're allowed to jump over them, but you can't do the whole just hurdle someone that's trying to tackle you from the waist up.
And it's all for the reason of safety is what they're all that's exactly what they're gonna say for all of it. It's all
I
gonna
know.
it's all,
But like, the guys that can pull that up are like, come on, man, I could have broken that tackle. I could have jumped that guy.
oh man.
Trying
But
to
that,
tackle me with a 5'3" free safety. I could have jumped him in my sleep.
just can't hurdle him, man. Can't risk it.
Sometimes it's a judgment call, so it's like the guy's going at my feet and I jumped over him and it's still a penalty. What am I supposed to do? Just let him hit me?
Yeah, let him hit my legs. And with turf too, we've seen a lot of ACL, knee, lower body injuries with turf, and with a lot of schools incorporating turf. Now, obviously, there's not enough. I don't think there's like evidence, and it's not scientifically proven that this turf is causing more injuries. If there is, I mean, I don't have the evidence in front of me that
get out there with his white coat and his big glasses and start to do some scientific research.
But you gotta figure we've seen a decent amount of uptick in injuries, and I don't know if it's the direct correlation or not, but it's hard to ignore that that turf can have that effect just because they're not getting as much. I don't know if it's what you would call traction or if you would call it just they're not able to. I guess it's more they're not able to plant their feet as much as it would be if it was dirt, like a dirt and grass field wearing cleats. When you have those rubber pellets, those rubberized pellets too, especially if they get wet, they can get slippery too. And if they get slippery, well, I mean, especially non-contact injuries, we've seen a lot of those happen last year too. And a lot of it too is just slipping on the turf field too, and you twist your knee the wrong way.
I'd like to see numbers on what how many non-contact injuries we had on turf fields last year compared to grass. Like, I don't know. I didn't notice a correlation. But I wasn't out there at football games, so I didn't really see the injuries myself. So
it's going to be interesting to see, but at the same point too, there's pros and cons because obviously the turf field is going to open up. It looks nicer. You don't have to care for it as much. You don't have to worry about people tending to it as often. There's a lot of pros to it. It's going to be interesting to see because a lot of teams have utilized turf fields. We're going to have to just pay attention to the injury bug. Hopefully, fingers crossed that it stays away from all of our teams. And there is no correlation like that. But there's a number of teams with turf stadiums now this year.
I just want to see who's going to be the first high school volleyball team in the state to have the hybrid floor for volleyball. That's kind of like it's wood, but it's kind of like the rubber substance that like has a little bit of give to it. I don't know if you've ever seen it. A lot of colleges have it.
Yeah.
I want to see first high school to have that. Let's go.
And Aunt just wants them to have like a trampoline underneath. Oh my
goodness. I don't even know how to explain what they use. It's only used for volleyball. I've never seen it used for any other sport. It looks like a hardwood floor, but the material just has the slightest bit of softness to it.
Is it actually wood or it's not wood?
It's not wood. It's not wood.
Okay, it's kind of like
they build it to like you still look at a court and you, that looks like a wood floor, but it's like
how do they do they keep it for basketball or is it just a separate court altogether?
Well, they can move it because I know Pitt when they got a really good volleyball team, they usually play on Pitt has a volleyball only state court, but when their volleyball team was like really good, up towards number 1 in the country, they played a couple of their games inside the basketball court at Pitt, and they moved the floor to the basketball court. So it's definitely one that you can move and put in different spots.
It's interesting to think about because I
really expensive. Like it's a pipe dream for high school, but
for now, I mean, it's a pipe dream for now for high schools. You never know.
I would have hit that lottery. I would have went up to one of probably my club. I would have been like, South, hey, do you want a volleyball court? Because I'll pay for it.
But in the same, I mean, if it becomes popular, it might become more common to see it too. And if it becomes more common and there's more demand or it's more supply, it's going to be able to meet that demand. I mean, think about it though, and 20 years ago, how many teams would you have thought would have had turf fields in the football room right now? So turf football fields, I think if you would have talked to people back in 2002 and said about half the area schools are going to have a turf football field, they look at you side-eyed and say, what are you talking about?
I want to kind of, that's old. These are old pictures. when they had. I'm gonna send you a picture of the volleyball floor, and you can just kind of tell that it's not. It's not like it's not hardwood. I don't even know what the material is called. But you can like, especially when I'll send you one, especially when you look at this is Georgia Tech's. I'll send you it in a text and you can see it. But especially when you look at like the solid color, like the blue, it's got like a rubberized shine to it. It almost looks like it's rubber, and you can tell that it's not hardwood.
It might be kind of like what you see on those like gymnastics floors, that have like a little bit of, I don't know if it's like a spring to it.
I've been on it, and like I've got, and I've felt it doesn't have the spring. I think this has a softness to it.
But I mean, they're not like it has like a little bit of give to it too. I don't know though if that would be the same material they would use.
I texted you the picture. I know this is probably not like the most interesting discussion in the world to have for our viewers, but I texted you the picture, and you can look at it whenever you want.
I mean, to open it up though, it just goes with the improvements. I mean, to kind of relate it to what we're seeing, Waterloo improving their field, but we've also seen plenty of stadiums utilizing turf fields. Rain Stadium just recently did it too. And I, by the way, love the new Rain Stadium. Love that they included all those old Youngstown schools on the Y in the middle. Gorgeous Rain Stadium. You did a great job with that.
The end zone with the red end zone with the black Youngstown.
Yeah. Great job with that. I mean, it's perfect as far as I'm concerned. But no, I'll take a peek at this. I see what you're saying.
Like, it's not wood. You can tell it's not wood. It's got like a rubbery kind of look to it.
It's almost, I mean, it reminds me of like the gymnastics floors a little bit. But the gymnastics floors, I feel like, have that, and they sometimes lay like a carpet almost over it from time to time. Or they'll do those paddings, those paddings that you can connect. But I feel like it's got to be the same thing. If it has like a little bit of give, like if it's bouncing a little bit because it's rubberized, it's got to be similar to that, I would think.
I'm going to Google it.
It needs the answer on it. But I'd be interested to see if any schools adopt that, because plenty of schools have adopted the turf field. And I mean, just to think, I don't know the cost exactly of a turf field, but it has to outweigh the money you save from not having grass and having to tend to grass has to eventually make up for the cost that it takes to originally install a turf field. Otherwise, I don't think it would make sense for some of these schools to pull the trigger on a turf field.
Right. And when you have a turf field, remember it also highly benefits the other sports. The soccer plays on it. Softball can practice on it when it's raining.
I guess that adds another layer to the discussion, right? Because like we talked about turf fields 20 years ago, never seeing them as opposed to now. Do you think there's more pros as to having a football turf field than changing the hardwood in a gym? Because like you said, Ann, if you change the hardwood in a gym to that kind of rubberized material for volleyball, it seems like it's strictly for volleyball as a sport, because you can't use that for basketball season. That would have to get out of those gyms for basketball season.
Yeah, it's called Mateflex.
Do they use it for any other sport? Is it only for volleyball?
I've only ever seen it used for volleyball.
That's interesting. I'm curious. I wonder if there's any schools that would pull the trigger, and if they are, it's probably going to be like your D1, your D2 schools, the schools that probably have a big enough facility to where they can just separate the volleyball and basketball court entirely. Because I can't imagine schools. Well, I guess if volleyball and basketball season are different seasons, I guess you can do it the same court. You would just have to take everything out. You would have to just reinstall the basketball wood. You would have to have 2 floors to install on the court, which would be a little bit of a pain. But where's the cost efficiency, I guess, is the question, because I guess that's where it comes down to, right? Because the money you save from the turf field as opposed to grass is going to feed back into the money you originally spent on turf field. Where does that kind of money get saved if you're doing that with a volleyball court, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
It would be cool. It would be. those are the discussions. The internal.
I'm looking at like one of the because it's a company that's called Mateflex that builds them, and some of their promo shots look like they're in high school gyms. Like it's definitely not a college gym, because it's got like one or two rows of bleachers, and it looks like a pretty like standard high school gym, and it's got the volleyball kind of stuff on it, but it still has the lines for basketball, so maybe you can technically play basketball on it.
I wonder if any of our teams have played on this material. Any of the local teams have played any like away games, or if there's any teams in the state of Ohio that even have that material on their floor.
When you go to JO camps, I mean, if you go to like they'll have these mats, they'll have these put down, so it's definitely portable. You can definitely take it off and put it in.
And if that's what I was saying. I mean, I don't think it would be actually an issue. I don't think to have it be on the same court as basketball if it's just different seasons. But it's just, I don't know where the money gets saved, because what is the upkeep cost of it? What do you have to do to upkeep that?
Yeah, that's stuff I have no idea.
That's the only question I feel like. And if teams are operating in the red, it's not going to be the smartest decision. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it, especially if it enhances the game too, and if it's a better surface to be played on for high school volleyball. I'd love to see it incorporated. But obviously, we know the power of green is the loudest voice in the room too. So
yes.
So we got to always listen to that voice too.
The life expectancy is a 15-year warranty. But it's expected to last more than 20 years. That's what the website says.
And you'd have to compare that too with like the hardwood, the upkeep you would have to do with hardwood floors.
I mean, there are some gyms that they have not put a new floor in over 20 years. It would probably be like, yeah, we wouldn't want something that we have to replace in 20 years.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of figuring too, because some of those gyms are. I mean, some of that wood is built to last, especially if it's been treated the way it has to be like water resistant in some cases too, and it's not gonna rot, not gonna mold. I mean, some of those gyms are built to last.
Yeah,
and it's like, we need the material.
We need it. I'm gonna get a quote right now.
He's quoting it, order 54. And there you go. Ant's a few million in debt right now. Hey, everyone's getting to court.
Everybody getting to court.
Oh man,
I'll worry about it later.
I'm curious though. I wonder if there is going to be any teams in this area that pulls the trigger on doing that, having that kind of floor installed.
I mean, Gilmore Academy might have one.
If it is, we're probably still about 10 years away, I think, before local high schools start incorporating it.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Jimmy Sutton here, director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable. We are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our family's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
All right, welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Harwig alongside Ty Bartell. Ty, during the break, I have discovered the mystery of what these floors are made out of and what materials are used to make them. It is PVC foam, so they're called PVC flooring. The surface is designed to minimize the risk of friction burns and abrasion during the player's dives, defensive actions, rolling ball retrievers, and whatnot. So that's why it's there. The lower layers are usually made of differentiated density PVC foam to ensure a rapid reaction of impact. The different densities are progressive with the layers. So, PVC foam layers by layers, if that makes sense.
I could see that too. So, I mean, essentially, I would just think that it's a slicker material. So you could slide more when you're going on those dives, where like wood, you'll get, it doesn't slide, even though it looks glossy and it looks like it's been coated and it's slippery. Those that's where you see a lot of friction burns too, and that's why volleyball players get beat up on going for digs.
Less friction, and it has a little bit of give when you impact. It's not like a gymnastics floor for their floor routine where it's spring loaded and makes you jump out of the floor, but it's just a little bit of that give, that will help you when you're jumping on the floor to get a ball. They do have the floors that are both. You can have it fixed or you can have it removable. The removable ones, instead of being glued to the surface, are taped down with a special adhesive tape that can be removed and stored when you're done using it. So they do have the ones where you can have it be just removable. So you can have it and then remove it when you're done with volleyball season.
And I mean, that's probably, if we ever do get it in the high school realm, that's probably what we're gonna see it get it added to as something that you can remove and take off for basketball season.
I mean, this is something that like YSU doesn't even get to, and they could have it in Beagley and then remove it for basketball season. So I'm guessing because of that, the budgeting of trying to put the floor in like that is not exactly cheap. It's one of those ones where the website says, if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
You also got it.
How much is it? If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
OHSAA too might also have rules in place too about the flooring too. I mean, there might also be rules on the surface that it has to be played on.
Because even like when they go to state championships, they don't put that floor down. They go to Wright State and they just use Wright State's gym. But they could easily go to like an Ohio State that has the volleyball floor and play it on the rubber surface.
That is true. I wonder, because how much of an advantage, I guess, does it give to teams that have that opposed to hardwood too? Because I don't know if that, because the teams they allow turf and grass for baseball, softball, football, like they allow multiple surfaces for that.
I don't think it gives you like an advantage as far as jumping, or I think it's, and it like the bounce the ball has doesn't really affect you, because once the ball hits the ground, it's the end of the points. You don't care how much it bounces. So I don't know. And that'd be a volleyball expert, and I'd have to ask like a college coach, like, does that floor give you any kind of advantage, or is it simply a surface to increase safety?
Because it has a little bit of give, does that prohibit or enhance jumping?
Ooh, that'd be like, if I don't think it's that much give that it really affects how you jump.
That's the only question I guess I would really have, because that's the only area I feel like in the sport where you can really get effects is like the vertical. Does that prohibit or enhance your jumping?
I think it's not like memory. It's not like memory foam where it's like
right into it.
Can you imagine
playing on memory foam?
Just enough give that like when you jump on the floor to get a ball and your elbow hits or something, it's like not like the hardwood. It's just a little bit of that give where it doesn't like kill you when you jump on it.
And that's probably likely to save a lot of, because you see elbow and knee injuries a lot, it seems like, in volleyball too, just because that ball making contact with hardwood at the rate that these girls are diving too. I mean, you see a decent amount of elbow and knee injuries too.
If you ever walk on one and you feel it, especially there's just this. It's hard. It's like you feel it, and then you would feel a wood floor, and it's just like almost. It feels like you're touching rubber, is what it kind of feels like when you go on a volleyball court and you look at it.
I'm interested because I don't think I've ever seen one live, so I'm curious if I ever encounter one. I kind of want to now. Just
if you ever get a free weekend, you can just shoot on over to Pitt, and they have one in their volleyball, so you can just take a stroll to Pitt.
Did you say Ohio State has one too down in?
Yeah, I think because they had the volleyball national championships in Final Four in Columbus, so they have a rubber one too.
Next time I'm in Pitt or in Columbus, I might have to make a stop. Check it out.
The Georgia Tech Pitt game with me.
go to that. It might be worth it too. We'll have to see what the schedule's looking like, but that might be the opportunity to go. I
looked at it's the second to last game of the season this year. It's in November. I think
it's going to be in the season.
It's going to be during our break from fall, to basketball. So I'm like circling that date. I think it's like November 23rd.
Anthony's got to get up there to see.
Oh, that's that. Like last year. I mean, those are two of the best teams in the country going at it.
Mm-hmm. And
it was like last year. It was like number 13 Georgia Tech versus number 2 Pitt at Pitt, and Georgia Tech won in 5 sets. It was amazing.
And Anthony lost his first Georgia
mind. And the Pitt fans that were sitting in front of me were so upset. It's all right. It's whatever. Deal with it.
Oh, man. It just gets me excited for volleyball season as well. That's just around the corner. August 20th is opening day for Saturday for volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of great opening day matchups, too, for volleyball. I don't know, and we know the teams that are going to be good. We've talked about them. There's going to be some dark horse teams, I think, this year that can really surprise some people. And, I mean, we've heard it, too. There's teams that we don't even know what to expect. Waterloo is a perfect example. We just talked with Coach DeVries. I don't care who you are. Anytime you get 3 times as many participants in the sport, there's going to be something new that you're going to see from that team.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they bring to the table.
Remember, that program is a few years removed from being a very high caliber program in the small school world of volleyball, where they were winning a lot.
Exactly. And I mean, good coaching staffs will do that. And we've seen it time and time again. And I'm excited because there's plenty of cases like that where freshmen we've seen step up in these other sports. Heck, last few sports we've seen LaGraine Gaskins, basketball wise, tore it up. She's, as a freshman, Sydney Watts, obviously, with Fitch. We talked about her too. There's some big name freshmen. I'm excited to see which freshmen step up this year.
You're going to see another hour coming up.
Anytime hours are involved in sport, midnight hour is what it feels like.
If you thought you were done, no. Also, you can get out and see some scrimmages. I think there's going to be some this weekend. Next week, there are a lot of scrimmages out there that you can see a lot of good matchups that you might not be able to see in the regular season. If you're itching for volleyball, you might want to get out there and see some scrimmages. See some.
I want a commercial, like a YSN commercial with like all the hours, and like you have them. It's the soccer hour on YSN. Right. It's the volleyball hour on YSN. Like that needs to be for Crestview commercials. They need to have it's the volleyball hour on YSN.
We went over schedules Friday, Ty. We got through the AAC, and then we went into the Buckeye 8 conference and looked at Beaver Local and East Liverpool schedules. And now I want to go into the next alphabetical conference, which is the EBC, and look at Salem's schedule. Salem's a sneaky good team. They can really do some damage in volleyball. They open the season on August 22nd versus Howland at home. And then they will be at Southeast, and they'll be home against Mooney at United. Then they'll start their conference schedule with a home game against Alliance, home against Minerva, home against Carrollton, at Marlington, at West Branch, at Alliance, at East Liverpool, at Minerva, at Carrollton, and at Mineral Ridge. Look at this. They have 7 straight away games for the Quakers.
That's the big test of the season, you figure, right? You come out of that part looking good, or if you come out of that, heck, even with like a nice winning record, 4, 5, 6 wins out of that, that's you're looking real pretty towards the end of the season.
That's almost a whole month of September. They start that road trip on Thursday, September 8th, and they don't have a home game again until Tuesday, September 27th.
That's almost reverse. I don't remember the exact team we were looking at. Was it a team we were looking at Friday, Ant, that was similar to that where I think it was just reverse, where they didn't have a home game or they played at home only in September. I think it might have been a football team we were looking at on Friday.
Liberty doesn't have a home game until September 9th for football.
That's right. Liberty plays all their home games in September, and that's it for football. That's your only chance to get a home Liberty football game.
So then they'll be home against Marlington after the end of their road trip at Mineral Ridge. Home against West Branch, home against Boardman, home against Hubbard. Those are some big matchups at home, back to back, with some big conference matchups between Chelsea Evanich and Marlington, and then West Branch, and then home against Boardman, home against Hubbard. So 2 really big conference matchups at home, and then 2 really big non-conference matchups at home.
That Boardman game is going to be fun. I think that Hubbard game is going to be sneaky good, though. Honestly, Salem Hubbard, I think, can really put on a game of the night type quality.
And then they're on the road against Ursuline, on the road against Western Reserve, and then look how they finished the season at home with 2 games: home against Girard, home against Crestview.
You include Western Reserve in that last 3 games, then Western Reserve, Crestview, and then you said Girard. Though we know what Girard is capable of. We know what Crestview is capable of this year. And Western Reserve is one of the more solid, I think, volleyball programs in the area, especially small school volleyball. They just always have good teams. That's a great way to
Olivia Hughes coming back for her junior season. That's a good team.
There's a lot of good teams, but that's what you want if you're Salem. And that's not the first team we've seen bolster their schedule with non-conference games towards the end of the season, which is some tough looking non-conference games to prepare them for the tournament. That's what you need to try to survive a district in this Northeast region.
Yeah, the 10th against Western Reserve, the 11th against Girard, the 13th against Crestview.
There were 3 tough opponents in 4 days too. Like 3 gauntlet. Like if you can make it past this gauntlet, you're ready for the tournament.
Reminder: Salem's conference games and their home games are 6:30 for varsity, 5:00 JV. Most of the teams in our area, but EBC does a little bit differently. Most of the teams in the area will be your 5:30 JV, 7:00 varsity, like normal. But for volleyball reminders for games that are EBC games and Salem's home games, it'll be a 6:30 varsity start with a 5:00 JV start. Threw me off a couple of times last year. So just remember that when you're going to watch Salem or West Branch in the EBC. But when they are on the road against a non-EBC opponent, it looks like it goes back to the normal 7:00 start time. For varsity.
It's home team's discretion when you go when you do the scheduling too. So if you're making your way into EBC territory, you're making your way into that conference, they got a home game. You got to make sure you plan a little ahead of time too, and make sure you're not a half hour behind like some people might be strolling in there.
Let's look at we looked at Salem. Let's go into West Branch and what their schedule will look like as we venture into the other team that we have signed on the EBC. They will open the season Saturday, August 20th against South Range at South Range. There'll be a away game, and then there'll be a tri-match where they'll have Howland as well on the never mind. I just looked at Saturday. I thought it was post Saturday. The next game after South Range will be the week after, Saturday the 27th versus Howland. That'll be a home game. Then they go into the conference play as they host Minerva. They will travel to Marlington, travel to Alliance, travel to Carrollton, back home against East Liverpool. Then they will be home against West Branch. Home against Salem. Sorry. Salem playing West Branch. At Minerva. Home with a tri-match on Saturday, September 17th with Hubbard and Mineral Ridge. Then they come back Tuesday. They'll be home against Marlington. Thursday, home against Alliance. Then they'll have a home game against Carrollton. At Salem, they will host Girard. They will play Massillon, Washington at home on the 6th. Saturday the 8th is their last game. It'll be a tri-match at Boardman with Boardman and Woodridge.
A lot of try matches that they have on the docket this year. West Branch trying to make sure that they have that stamina to go deep into games and kind of reset themselves year in and year out. I'm kind of excited too because if I'm not mistaken, that South Range West Branch, didn't they open up last season too in some form or fashion?
I think it was a tri match last year with.
I think you might be right.
No, I knew they opened the season. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they did. And I think West Branch won that one last year, if I'm not mistaken. So, South Range and how competitive they are. These are two prestigious schools, too, that always have good athletics, especially girls' athletics.
And this is a volleyball team in West Branch. It's always been good, but they are looking for their first conference championship since 2002. They've always been kind of undercut by a Salem or a Marlington for the EBC or for a conference championship. So, but they've always been a good team, and they've always been really well coached, and they're going to be good this year. But still looking for their first accolade, I guess you could say, since 2002 as far as a league championship.
And, with West Branch athletics, a conference championship 20 years ago doesn't sit well in any sport with the Warriors. So they definitely want to get back to those conference championship winning ways and say they have another one under their belt.
Last year they were right there. They couldn't get over the Marlington hump. Chelsea Evanich and Marlington were just way too good.
You talk EBC. I know it's almost any sport. I don't care. It's West Branch, Salem, Marlington. Like it's those three. It seems like those three are always racing for, especially girls sports too. Like girls sports, almost anything. It's those three teams that are always making runs.
Soccer, I don't know how good Marlington's girls soccer team is.
That is, but soccer,
but it's definitely West Branch and Salem.
Yeah, basketball is obviously, I think, West Branch, Salem, Marlington. They
all beat each other this year.
Yeah, they were all rotatingly beating each other.
because the regular season split with West Branch for Marlington. They beat Salem twice, but Salem beat West Branch twice.
And that's just the way it works between those three teams. They're all each other's kryptonite, it seems like.
And then West Branch beat Marlington in the district championship. So West Branch went 2 out of 3 against Marlington.
And that was just the crazy basketball season, and it's going to be a crazy volleyball season. Anytime you got those three teams, Salem, West Branch, Marlington, in the conversation, it'll be interesting. We obviously hope that we can finally get that the Dukes to fall into the YSN banner too, because we would love nothing more than to start including a lot of Marlington games over there, because you know as well as I do, Ant, they got a lot of talent over there.
All right, you want to dive into some girls soccer? I got a preview for South Range girls soccer because we obviously were talking about Gabby Lamparty earlier in the show, and she's going to be a senior in that coach, a third-year head coach, and Kelsey Benyo as she returns regional semifinals last year is how far the Raiders got, a 14-4 record. They were also in the regional final 2 years ago in 2020. So her third season, her first 2 years, Kelsey took the Raiders to a regional final and a regional semi as head coach. And you'll look at some of the other players to watch, obviously Gabby Lamparty. But then you have Drew Sauerwein, you have Abby McCabe, and Presley Novak, who all are people to watch.
Exciting times too, and those are names too you've heard in other sports. There's a lot of multiple sport athletes over there in Raider country, so these girls are competitive. They know what it takes to win. They also have been on the wrong side of things before too, so they know what it's like to lose too, and they want to avoid that at all costs. It's always a dangerous team anytime South Range is coming into town. And that's all sports, but especially, like we said, girls sports too. It's always been a highlight of Raider country.
Once again, Gabby Lamparty going into her senior year, and she's an All-American. So she is a literal high school All-American. Could have went and played anywhere, committed to West Virginia. She'll be headlining that team with some other players that really put together a strong season last year as well.
And I mean, this is an opportunity for you to go see Gabby too before she starts taking her talents to the next level. You're not going to miss it, Raider faithful.
To West Virginia.
Not too bad of a drive, though. I mean, that's drivable. That's drivable to get there in a day to go see her too at the next level. What are you intently looking for?
I'm also looking at some of the other information on the Raiders. They have 8 returning letter winners and 5 returning starters. When you look at their roster, a pretty young roster, though. Let's see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freshmen and 1, 2, 3, 4 sophomores. So 9 underclassmen. Lamparty, and then 1, 2, 3. That'll be 4 seniors and a couple of juniors. But even the juniors are players that weren't mainstays on the team last year. So they did lose some of their experience, but they do have an All-American returning for her senior season. So
you got good leaders in the spots to where these girls can take after. You might not come out of the season just as hot if some girls need to adjust to the play style of the varsity level. But hey, all open spots mean open opportunities for these younger girls too to step into that spotlight and take what can be theirs. Staying in
Canfield, the Canfield girls only lost 2 games last year. They were 5-2-1 in the season. They got knocked out of the tournament early in the district semis, but they had a great regular season. Phil Simone returns in his 29th year as a head coach in that AAC. And you'll look at their outlook. They have only 3 returning starters, but they have also 3 returning letter winners. So they're losing a lot of their talent. And one of the players to watch, though, will be Macy Tophorse, her 8 goals, 7 assists last year. Second team all district, second team all conference. And then you'll have, winners of 10 straight conference championships. So we talked about West Branch and going for 9 straight conference championships in the EBC. Canfield has been owning the AAC in soccer, and it'll be up to teams like Boardman and Fitch to try to change that, and Howland and Warren Harding.
I do remember very fondly, even back when I was in high school, the Fitch teams always had to go through Campfield, regardless of boys or girls soccer. Campfield always had good programs, it seems like, and that's no different. It just seems like AAC, each team just kind of each team in the AAC kind of takes their sport for girls sports, right? Like Fitch has been dominant in volleyball for some time. Campfield takes soccer. Boardman's big in cross country, like cross country track. Like Boardman is just like dominating in that constantly too. But those are your three schools, and then obviously too, we've added them last year. Howland is always a wild card in this conference. Howland is capable of beating any of these teams any night. That's just the Tiger way, man. They're built tough over there, and they know how to pull off big wins.
And then on the boys' side, Howland is one of the premier soccer teams in the whole state of Ohio.
No doubt. Like I was referencing girls soccer with Howland, but boys soccer with Howland, yeah, absolutely. You can't. They are one of the best teams. They're going to be one of the better teams too. You look at this year, always in like that regional discussion, and even every once in a while in that state discussion, they were just state champions not too long ago.
Well, speaking of someone that went to state, it was Crestview that went to the state finals last year. They're going to have a new head coach in Riley McCall. It'll be his first year as we talk about the Crestview boys who were 21-2 last year. Went to that state final. They return. Looks like they return 5 starters, but they also return 13 letter winners from last year. Nick Novak will come back. He had 57 goals last year, 44 assists. First team all-state player, first team all-district, first team all-conference, first team all-county.
He's just first team everything.
First team everything. Will Welch will return. He had 5 goals, 5 assists. And they'll also return Nick Jascola, who's a pretty good defender for their defense. Last year, they were kind of a surprise. I don't think a lot of people saw them making the run they did in the tournament, but they bring back a lot of even the players that weren't mainstays or weren't linchpins in that team. They have the experience of that, right? They have that, that's the bar that's set. That's what it takes to get there from the upperclassmen. So it'll be interesting to watch Canfield boys soccer and what they have in store under a new head coach and some new names to learn in that program as well.
It's always exciting times during the season to look at the soccer teams, and we talked about this last year a lot. Last season was a big discussion. There's always kind of just been good soccer teams consistently making it to that state level in this area. And I mean, whether they're walking away state champions or not, they're getting to that level. And that's what's impressive too. Soccer in this area has been good. We just need to start recognizing it a little more.
I think 5 straight seasons where we've had a soccer team in a state final.
I believe you're correct on that, and I believe it's 5.
Crestview last year. We had Howland 2 years in a row. They won it once. They lost it once. I know Mooney was there not too long ago. South Range was there in 16 and lost. So we actually South Range's boys soccer team has been there twice. They had a really good run back in the day. No, I shouldn't say back in the day. It was like 2014, 2016.
The day.
6 years ago. 6 years ago, back in the day, they had some good. They had some good teams. They also their boys team. They had 2 high school All-Americans last year. One on their boys team, one on their girls team. Camden graduated, so he's not there anymore. But Gabby Lamparty will be a senior on the girls' side.
And we're looking forward to that. I mean, the soccer in this area, there's going to be a lot of talented teams, and I dare to say there's a handful of teams I think that can make a run back to that state championship level too, both on the boys' side and the girls' side. So I think definitely you got to keep your eyes peeled for the soccer talent in this area because we've consistently seen teams from this area make it to that big stage.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna have to look forward to that. I think when you think about it and you think about soccer, and we'll also we'll dive into some golf maybe when Brian gets here this week, since we're doing deep dives into some of these team previews and what we expect from some teams. Maybe Wednesday we'll dive into some local golf teams and who should be good and who are some players to watch on both sides then. But fall sports, I think it gets like the most anticipation because it has the most time to build. Because like when you're talking about basketball, you get like 2 weeks off between the end of fall and the start of basketball.
I'm already ready for basketball
There's
season.
not a lot of time to boil the excitement for basketball, right? But and then for softball and baseball, it's even shorter. It's like basketball ends and you go right into baseball and softball. So there's not a lot of time to like build up that excitement for the public. But it's been 3 months without high school sports, really. You know, we've had travel ball, we've had, you know, summer baseball, summer softball. But now we're getting into like everyone's getting a little bit jittery, and obviously football's huge. And I think fall sports gets that bubbling of excitement every year.
There's so much fall sports, though. There's so much variety of fall sports that you could choose from. It's like you could just eat, these people get hungry for fall sports. You just serve them a big old plate to satisfy their hunger, and then you just portion it out for the next coming months with the other sports. But no, I'm just excited for high school sports to start. And I don't know about you, Ant, but I mean, you're a softball junkie 24/7. I'm a basketball junkie 24/7. So we're obviously excited for fall sports. We're jittery like everybody else, but I have the same excitement for next basketball season that I have for these sports, and I know you do for baseball, softball season as well.
Oh, softball season's not over. There's still the Athletes Unlimited.
It's like it's not over. It's never over. Don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it being over. What are you talking about? Professional softball is alive and well. You can watch it all on ESPN.
Oh yeah, but
the best in the game play.
But we thank all of the people that are going to come on and help us preview these fall sports too.
New sport that I saw on TikTok, and it was like, oh my gosh, tennis, baseball. All the fielders have rackets. So when you field it, you have to racket it to wherever you want to throw it. So instead of throwing, you racket it.
That's nuts. That is nuts.
You pitch it to him, and the batter has a racket. So.
I want the pitcher to like serve it to him. Just right
insane. Like, here we go, boom, boom.
Just you'd see dingers all the time. That you just have a good crack on it. Then oh my god, because some of those servers, those things come off at like 100 miles an hour.
I saw the play on TikTok. This middle infielder like ran, he caught the ball with his hand, and then he like stepped on second, did one of those Derek Jeter jump, turn his body, and racket it first. And I was like, oh, that is sick.
Unbelievable. It'd be a lot easier, I think, to barehand. Well, it is easier to barehand, I feel like, the tennis ball, just because it's smaller. You're able to get hold of it.
It's coming at you at 64 miles an hour.
You still gotta have
90 plus when it's served. Like some of these service in tennis, I'm like, how do you even see that? Not just react to it and know where to hit it. I'm like, how do you see it? Like the best serves in the world are coming off that racket at like 120 miles an hour, and I'm thinking like,
blur.
That's like a yellow blur. What's that? What are you talking about? It's a yellow blur.
Yellow blur that you got to react to inside.
They not only react to it, but they aim where they want to put their returns. I'm like, good lord.
We'll have at least a little bit of tennis too in fall. So girls tennis will be going in fall, so you'll be able to get your tennis fill as well. But don't forget, folks.
Tennisville. I thought you said Tennisville. I was like, is that a new city?
Tennisville.
No. Tennessee and Tennisville.
We obviously thank all of the coaches that are going to come on and help us preview these respective sports and these respective programs. Obviously, thank Coach Mike DeVries for coming on today. But also, stay tuned to YSN, because obviously we know we have Casual Sports Podcasts coming up right after. But if I know correctly, there's some big news coming on Power Hour.
DJ put out yesterday that there's something being announced at 3:00, and you don't want to miss. Basically, you don't want to miss Power Hour today. That's the main system. You do not want to miss
news on just the company. And
the only hint was what was it?
From the river to the lake.
From the river to the river.
From the lake to the river, and it
had 330 to 440 too. So if that means anything to you,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
That's coming up at 3. Casual Sports Podcast. We'll get you in between there from 2 to 3. Ty, you'll be on your way home tomorrow.
I will be, unfortunately.
EB's going to come and be a guest host for the whole show. So we'll have EB on the show tomorrow, and I'll be back from 12 to 2. You'll be back on Wednesday for the normal Wednesday routine, and we'll see you then on Running Point. 22-hour break. Thank you so much.